Yo, what is up YouTube? It's your boy Legend and I am back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. What if Naruto was a failed experiment? My goal for this video is going to be 5 likes, so get the video to 5 likes if you want the next part. Subscribe while you're at it, but without further ado, let's get into this intro so we can start this what if.
Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah.
2 hours after the pills began circulating through his body, Naruto felt whole again. The stinging tightness in his joints had faded. The itch beneath his skin had stopped. His muscles felt full of strength once more, and his breath no longer rattled from his lungs like it did when his body was on the verge of collapse. The thick, sloshing pieces of skin that had sloshed off from his limbs had been replaced by smooth, healthy tissue. Even the pain behind his eyes had dulled into a manageable ache. He was, for all appearances, normal again, but nothing about what had just happened felt normal. Naruto stood alone in his bedroom, a thin haze of steam still lingering in the air from the boiling hot shower he had taken to scrub the blood from his body. His skin, raw in some places from how fiercely he had scrubbed, prickled in the chill of the evening air. The sheets on his bed were ruined, crimson soaked into the mattress pad, patches of dark sludge clinging to the edges. His clothes, what remained of them, sat bunched in a corner like shed skin. He grabbed them all, every bloodied piece of clothing, every soiled sheet, and stuffed them into the hamper with force. His hands trembled, not from weakness anymore, but from shame. They had seen him. His mother's eyes were wide, horrified, flashed across his mind. Kushina hadn't said a word. Neither had Minato. They simply stood there, frozen, as they watched their only son. They watched his body writhe and fall apart before their eyes. And he could see it now. The pity. Naruto hated that look. He lived his life trying to avoid it. He hated it as much as he hated Orochimaru, as much as he hated the scars beneath his skin. He grabbed a cloth and a bottle of strong disinfectant and got to work on the mattress. He scrubbed hard until his fingers were sore and his shoulders ached. The mattress wouldn't be spotless, but he'd cover the stains. He always did. He found fresh sheets, tight and clean, and redressed the bed. Only when it was done, only when the evidence of what had happened was erased, did he finally sit down. His parents were waiting in the living room, quiet and heavy, with unsaid words, unsaid questions. Naruto took a breath, and then told them everything. Minato's brow furrowed deeper with each word, while Kushina clenched her fists in her lap, knuckles white. Naruto avoided their eyes as he spoke, gaze fixed on the wall just behind their heads. He told them about the experiment. He told him of all 11 years, of how Orochimaru had used him to test regeneration sequences, how the snake signing had pushed his body beyond its natural limits, replacing functions with synthetic mutations. He had been reduced to something inhuman, stripped of normal healing processes, rebuilt with unstable biological frameworks. I can't heal anymore, Naruto said, voice quiet. Not like a regular person. He explained how his skin didn't regenerate, how his muscles, if damaged, would not repair without help, how his cells broke down under stress, how even sleep did nothing when the deterioration began. That's where the pills came in. Alright, guys. For a simpler explanation, basically, the way you and me, we could regenerate from heals, we fall down, have a scratch, it forms a scab. Naruto can't do none of that. So his body just deteriorates. He basically just turns to slosh, basically, without those pills. Back to the story. They're made by Karin, a scientist who used to work with Orochimaru. He said, she developed them for me. They stabilize the breakdown. If I take one every 24 hours, my body can function somewhat normally. Minato sat silently, gripping the edge of the couch. Kushina's nails bit into her own thighs. And if I don't take them, Naruto continued, my body starts to break down. First, slowly, like nausea, joint pain, but then faster. My skin peels off, blood vessels rupture. I get fevers that burn through my nerves. My organs start shutting down. How long? Kushina asked, her voice hoarse. How long until, if you don't take them? Naruto hesitated. 3 to 5 days. Usually 6, if I'm lucky. It's not a peaceful way to go. He let the silence hang for a few breaths. I have 11 pills left. Kushina gasped. I'm going to try to space them out, make them last as long as I can. If I can go 30 hours instead of 24 hours, maybe I can buy myself a little more time. Why didn't you tell us before? Minato asked. Not angry, just quietly devastated. Naruto didn't answer right away. Because I didn't want you to look at me like that, he thought. Scene change with Sakura. Sakura stared down at the scroll in her hand, rereading Naruto's hastily written speech from earlier that day. The more she studied it, the less sense it made. Something wasn't right. Naruto had burst out of the Hokage's office like a man on fire, panic in every step, desperation hiding behind every word. His explanation, though polished, hadn't come from the heart. It had been planned, practiced. And then, when they were walking together afterward, she had nudged him gently on the shoulder, just like, well, she did when they were kids. A teasing little punch, nothing harsh. But Naruto had winced. His body had stiffened like he'd been electrocuted. He said nothing, just gave her a shaky smile, but Sakura had seen it, felt it. Something was deeply wrong with him, and now her gut screamed that he was lying. Sakura set the scroll down and grabbed her coat. She wasn't going to sit by and watch this unfold from the sidelines, not when Naruto was clearly suffering from something. If he wasn't going to tell her, she would find out on her own. She would go behind his back, behind the Hokage's too, if she had to. She needed to know what really happened to him during the time he disappeared. She needed to know what he was hiding beneath that ragged, tired smile. Scene change. While Sakura began her investigation, others in the village were already plotting, though for different reasons entirely. Naruto Uzumaki was back, and not just Naruto, he was the son of Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, a war hero, a figure of national prestige, and now older, stronger, and most importantly, unattached. Word spread like a wildfire. First, it was whispers in the clans that he was back and he doesn't have a fiance. Then it was letters dispatched in secret by ambitious clan heads and elders, some from within Konoha, others from bordering nations. Carefully worded proposals disguised as diplomatic inquiries. An alliance through marriage would strengthen ties between our clans. My daughter is of age and skilled in medical ninjutsu, with strong chakra reserves. If Naruto is unmarried, might he consider? One letter even came from the hidden sand. It was absurd and yet predictable. Naruto had, well, they thought he had power. He had prestige. He had a tragic backstory. That made him desirable and enigmatic. The perfect tool for political advancement. None of the letters went through official channels. They were smuggled out, hidden in scrolls, dispatched by personal messengers, all in hopes that somehow the son of the Yellow Flash could be courted without the Hokage's interference. Back with Minato. Minato finally returned to the Hokage's office that evening, his face drawn and heart heavy. The report he'd just received from Naruto had left him shaken. He could still hear the words echoing in his mind. I have 11 pills left. It wasn't enough. Even if Naruto stretched them, it wouldn't buy him more than a couple of weeks at most. Minato knew what had to be done. He called in his most trusted shinobi, 3 individuals who could move swiftly and discreetly without attracting attention. Kakashi Hatake arrived first, leaning against the doorframe with his casual alertness he never abandoned. Neji Hyuga came next, composed and silent, his Byakugan already active. Kiba Inuzuka arrived last, Akamaru trotting behind him, sniffing the air curiously. Minato handed them a sealed scroll. You are not to open this until you find her, he said. Your target is Tsunade Senju. She was last seen in the western provinces near the border towns. Understood, Kakashi said, slipping the scroll into a secure pouch. She isn't too easy to convince, Neji warned. She'll want to know why, Kiba added. Minato's expression hardened. When she reads the scroll, she'll come. They nodded and disappeared out the window in a blur of movement. Minato stood alone for a moment longer, staring at the now empty room. They had to find her, because if Tsunade couldn't reverse engineer the medicine Naruto needed, there might not be anything anyone could do to save his son. The next morning, the pale gold light of morning seeped through the blinds of Naruto's darkened bedroom, casting thin lines across the wooden floor and the modest desk tucked into the corner. The air was still thick with the scent of ink, sweat, and something unnameable, a kind of sorrow that seeped into the walls and taken residence in the boy who had grown up too fast. Naruto sat silently, eyes heavy-lidded, not from sleep, but from the weight of finality. His calloused hands, so used to gripping a kunai or moving in tight, deadly patterns, now rested on a stack of 3 folded letters, each written with careful precision, each a quiet surrender. He didn't cry. There were no tears left for this. The first letter was for his father. The second letter for his mother. And the third, it was for Sakura. Not because he loved her or even missed her, he barely knew her. She had just been kind, polite in a way that reminded him of sunshine in the winter, distant, fleeting, but warm enough that it lingered. His fingers brushed over the top letter, the one addressed to his mother, Kushina, his mom, the only woman who ever insisted on feeding him with her own hands. She would smile as she rolled rice balls and mutter that he was too skinny, too quiet, too serious for someone his age. She had taught him how to eat like a human being, how to enjoy food instead of to just consuming it. That had shaken him more than he let on, because Orochimaru never fed him food, not real food, not food with texture and love and tradition. He refused to write what he had been fed in that laboratory. Some things were better left in the dark, even if the memories clawed at his stomach every time Kushina's lovingly placed a bowl in front of him and said, "Eat slow, okay?" She always smiled, and he smiled back. Naruto placed a small paperweight over the three letters and stood from his chair. His legs were stiff, his back ached, and he hadn't needed to. What he had done during the night was more important, more sacred than rest. He had spoken to ghosts, and now there was nothing left to say. In the Hokage's office, the quiet hum of morning had no place in the Hokage's office, where chaos sat in organized stacks. Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, stared at his desk with a look of polite horror as he flipped through what appeared to be the fifth marriage proposal of that morning. His normally sharp eyes were slightly glazed over, his mouth ajar as he tried to process the absurdity of it all. "These came when?" he asked absently, glancing at the towering stack of scrolls and official-looking documents piled high. Shikaku, seated at the side with a cup of green tea, raised a brow and shrugged. "Since last night, word spreads fast." "No kidding," Minato muttered, rubbing the bridge of his nose. He turned back to the scroll, currently in his hand. Each one was formatted in the same strange formal layout. Age, name, occupation, and legacy, the last of which seemed to function like a pedigree listing for a prized breeding dog. Only this wasn't about dogs. It was about his son. The scroll read, name, Tamari of the Desert, age, 18, occupation, Jonin of the Hidden Sand, legacy, daughter of the fourth Kazekage. Minato blinked. The girl in the attached photo was sharp-eyed, with 4 blonde pigtails, and a massive iron fan strapped to her back. She had a no-nonsense air to her, a desert-born elegance layered under sand-worn strength. He cleared his throat and set it aside. The next scroll was also from the sand. Name, Pakura, age 20, occupation, Jonin of the Hidden Sand, legacy, sole wielder of the Scorch Release Kekagenkai. Pakura's photo revealed a composed, green and orange haired Kunoichi with orange eyes and a distant expression, as if her mind was always on battle strategy and old regrets. There was something tragic about her. Minato frowned. What are they thinking? He flipped to the next one. Name, Yugito age 21. Occupation, Jonin of the Hidden Cloud. Legacy Jinchuriki of the Two Tails Monotabi. The photo attached showed a stoic beauty with cat-like eyes and golden hair tied in a single braid. She wore a hidden cloud forehead protector with quiet pride. There was a fire in her eyes and a trace of loneliness in the corners of her mouth. Minato gently set the scroll down, leaned forward, and let his head fall flat against the desk with a muffled thunk. Minato groaned louder. There are dozens of these. Some from the mist, one from the stone, two from Kumo, even a proposal from one of the daimyo's nieces. How am I supposed to process all of this? Well, Shikaku said dryly, you are the Hokage. Minato sat up, dragging a hand through his sun-golden hair. I have to talk to Naruto. And Kushina. We'll need to go through all of them together and decide which ones to reject outright. I doubt he'll want any of them. Honestly, he barely talks to anyone except me, Kushina, and Sakura, Shikaku replied. With Naruto. Naruto sat on a faded wooden bench nestled beneath the shade of a tall elm tree. The breeze was gentle, swaying the branches overhead and scattering multicolored leaves across the gravel path. Konoha's park was alive with sounds of children laughing, in the distance dogs barking, the occasional thud of a kunai training, but Naruto wasn't paying attention to any of it. His focus was on the birds, dozens of them, flitting beneath trees with bursts of color and song. It was a moment of peace, and moments like these were rare. He inhaled deeply. The crisp autumn air sharpened his lungs. Every breath felt like something he had to memorize. His time was running short. He could feel it, the way his bones creaked in the dull ache under his skin. In 3 days, he'd need another pill. There was only 11 left. That thought alone almost stole the air from his chest. Then, without warning, a shadow cut across the sunlight before him. Naruto blinked and slowly looked up, his sharp blue eyes meeting the cool, curious gaze of Ino Yamanaka. She was standing directly in front of him, her figure framed by golden light filtering through the trees. She didn't speak. She didn't even blink. She just stared at him. Naruto didn't speak either. Not at first. He stared right back, uneasy under her intense gaze. Eventually, he shifted on the bench, his voice low and slightly raspy as he broke the silence. Is there something you need? No, Ino said flatly. But can I sit with you? He gave a small, cautious nod. She took the spot beside him without hesitation, her thigh brushing against his. Her eyes lingered on his profile with no attempt to hide her curiosity. Naruto could feel it, that probing interest behind her gaze. It wasn't hostility, just something intense, raw, and maybe too forward. She was beautiful. He wasn't blind. Long platinum hair fell over one shoulder, her sleeveless purple blouse complementing her striking features. But there was a brashness in the way she moved, like she didn't care about what anyone thought. That made him nervous. You know, she said suddenly, her eyes narrowing slightly. Your mom had to repeat your speech for you. Why? Naruto stiffened, his eyes widening at her bluntness. He turned his head slowly to look at her, surprised she would ask something so personal, so casually. He hesitated, swallowing the lump forming in his throat. Because of what Orochimaru did to me? I can't send chakra to my vocals at all. Ino tilted her head, unbothered by his discomfort. That's crazy, but did you at least benefit in any way? Like, did it make you stronger or something? Naruto's expression shifted instantly. His jaw clenched, his fist curled tight against his thighs. That question hit something raw. He turned away, standing abruptly, his voice shaking with held back fury. You you think that's a good question to ask? He began to walk away, pulse hammering in his ears, but before he could take 3 steps, he felt her hand wrap around his wrist. Wait, she called, tugging at him. He turned just in time for her to yank him back harder than expected. He stumbled, tripped over his own feet, and fell right into her lap. Time stopped. Naruto's entire body went rigid, his cheeks flushing a furious crimson. He tried to rise and stand up immediately, but Ino grinned and wrapped arms around his waist from behind like a vice. Nope, she said casually, her tone teasing. I'm keeping you here. What the hell are you doing? He stammered, frozen in place. His voice trembled slightly, and he hated how flustered he sounded. Ino leaned forward, lips brushing against the shell of his ear, her grin widening. You're so cute when you act all shy like that. Naruto turned redder, if that was even possible. She was teasing him, and worse, she was stronger than he expected. No matter how he shifted, she didn't let go. Ino, I don't know you, he muttered. Sure you don't, she said playfully. But I know you. You gave that speech. You survived Orochimaru. You came back to a village that you barely remember. That's guts. That's mystery. And that's hot. Naruto wanted to evaporate. He tried to stand again, but she tightened her grip and rested her chin on his shoulder, voice dropping to a whisper. Don't move. Just stay still. I like holding you like this. He didn't know whether to panic or melt into the feeling. And all he knew was that his heart was racing, and it wasn't from fear. It was something far more dangerous and confusing. But guys, I'm going to end it off right here. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. And who knew that I would make Ino a stalker slash yandere, tsundere, whatever you call it. But without further ado, I am out, and I will see you guys within the next video. Stay blessed, y'all.